We know he's the best at receiving.
Everybody ready?
Turns out number 80's pretty good at giving.
Go.
Of course, it has to be a game.
Here we go.
80 seconds for these kids to get whatever they want at Toys R Us.
Blu-ray player, okay.
They're all separated from their parents, Casey's, with CPS.
This way, this way.
11-year-old Nick and his brother and sister are in the custody of his uncle. Jeff is pushing the cart.
We have 6 kids in the house and only one person providing, so Christmas gets pretty tough. So this is stuff I couldn't get him.
11-year-old Ladavian Stringer is the oldest of 4. The games, the toys, for his siblings, getting himself a Kindle reader.
I read a lot. I mean, like, a lot. It's my hobby.
Already learning.
He thought about his sisters and brothers, which is a new thing, you know.
It's a workshop in a wallet. This Santa carries a black credit. Good thing.
4,751 and 60 cents.
It's not all about toys.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
My 3 brothers would want your office.
It's about touch.
You know, you get to put a smile on kids' faces for the holidays. Kids get a chance to get what they want for Christmas, and that's all that matters.
And this is the real touchdown.
I can't thank you enough.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much.
You're very welcome.
They made the list. He checked it twice.
That's a gift card. I need it. I'll be back.
You got it?
Jeff and Nick brought their own sleigh.
All right. Take this home to the family. Everybody's going to have a good Christmas.
As for this Santa, he's got his other job to worry about.
Probably the biggest game, you know, in this franchise's history.
And that's just one game. For these kids, this day will last a lifetime.
Cereal.
Jeremy Desel, KHOU, 11 News.
After more than an hour of working to shore up the sides of that trench, HFD heavy rescue folks have gotten a harness around the victim that's been trapped down inside that trench for over an hour, and they're working with the ropes run by an extension ladder from above the hole to try to get the man in the harness up out. He's been buried now from the waist down inside that trench for quite some time. What's most important is trying to keep that dirt from collapsing back down on the person. You can see emerging now from that trench this construction worker who has now been inside that trench, inside that trap for more than an hour. You can tell that he does appear to be conscious, although not a lot of energy. You can see that he was buried at least up to his waist, but is now safely on that harness above the trench. They're going to now move him over and get him onto that stretcher and get him the much needed medical attention that he needs at this point. Of course, it takes a toll being down inside a trench like this. It takes a toll being buried like that on the body. Again, the biggest problems are circulation issues, crushing injuries of sorts, but these are the experts. You can hear now that there is some level of communication and consciousness in this victim. They're going to get him laid down. They're going to get him onto a stretcher and get him medical attention. Again, the folks from the heavy rescue team here at the Houston Fire Department have been able to lower that stretcher, lower that harness down inside the trench, get the man harnessed up and take him out safely, it appears, at least at this point. When we learn more, we'll bring it to you. Jeremy Desel, KHOU, 11 News. Louis Legesse still gets around fine, thanks. 90 years of memories to carry.
Age, you get to where it slips your mind for a while, but it's always been there with you.
One always on top.
7:55 is when it started.
He was 19, getting ready for church that Sunday morning, on board the battleship USS West Virginia, when the battle station's calls blared.
Looked out a porthole, and I could see 2 torpedoes coming toward the ship. And one of them hit forward of my position, one hit aft of me.
Explosions, pipes, bursting all around.
That's the last thing I remember.
It may have gone dark for Louis, but it was much darker back home, because here, Louis was dead.
This office has been advised of the death of your son, the above-named veteran.
First the telegram, then the newspaper headlines, even a memorial service. Easy to understand why.
Where I was, for 100 and some odd feet, there was nothing there, no deck at all. So I don't know. We took 9 torpedoes on that side, 7 of them not below where I was.
What happened in the wreck of that ship is lost to history. Hours after the carnage stopped, it was the chief bosun whose grim duty was gathering the lost.
Picked me up and to put me in the thing to go to be buried for the burial detail. And somebody said, well, he moved an eyelash. He's still alive.
A miracle in the midst of madness.
Until I woke up 3 days later and the hospital ship sold us.
But not all the history is in his head. There's material of all kinds from back in those historic days, including some that was unexpected. The yellowed papers all hold something interesting, but this holds something else. Found a year after Pearl Harbor, the contents of Lewis's wallet.
That's all he has to touch from that day. Everything else he owned, gone forever. But the images of those moments, those never leave.
You can't get away from it. It's in your psyche. You can't get away from it. I mean, if you just sit, you just start thinking about the war. I mean, that's the biggest thing that ever happened in my life.
How do you preserve the enormity of that so that it's just not lost to time?
You don't. You can't save any of it.
That doesn't mean he won't try. Jeremy Desel, KHOU, 11 News.
11 News reporter Jeremy Desel is there live tonight. And Jeremy, what can you tell us about this arrest?
Well, it turns out that in Magnolia, Texas Rangers and DPS officials had been watching a vehicle that they were sure was the vehicle they were looking for, Trey Sessler's 2010 black Mustang. They'd been watching that for several hours. Literally just 20 minutes ago, we were told that some sort of action took place in Magnolia and they were able to take that suspect into custody without incident. There are still very few details of what went on up there in Magnolia, other than that it was Texas Rangers who were involved and they had been holding surveillance on that vehicle for several hours and then finally did see that suspect and were able to take him into custody. Here, the state DPS Crime Lab mobile unit has arrived at this crime scene and they have plenty to do.
In videos posted online, Trey Sessler is not shy about showing off his guns.
I got an equalizer.
He fancies himself a filmmaker.
How you doing, everyone? It's Mr. Anime.
Police call him a killer. They say he used a gun to wipe out his entire family sometime this morning. Father, mother, brother, inside their Waller home.
The windows are broken out of it, etc. Like I said, I searched, we checked around the area, and I could see in one of the windows of the house and could see a person.
3 in all, dead from gunshot wounds. Weta Frierson is in shock. It's horrible crimes too close to home.
I saw the police tape. I knew that meant something very serious had happened. And I ran out of the front door.
Close to home in location, close to home because the victims are her nephew, his wife, and her grandnephew. The accused killer, another grandnephew.
I'll have to admit, he was quite strange.
The family says he was under some kind of medical treatment, but nothing that could explain this.
That he would never do anything to his mother. He was crazy about his mother. And so we found out differently.
Police are worried about what Trey Sessler might do next.
We don't know if this is a part of a plan that he had to carry something else out, or if this is just a random act that he did because of something that occurred here.
They think because of the videos, Sessler left here armed and dangerous, potentially even with body armor. The guns are a shock to the family.
That is a total surprise. Total surprise.
Looking at it now, Trey Sessler's short video is eerie. Not just because of the guns.
He got away. How does he get away?
He doesn't.
Again, Trey Sessler is now in custody in the Magnolia area to be taken to the Montgomery County Jail and eventually back here to Waller County. We're also told that there was some sort of evidence at this crime scene early on that led investigators potentially to Trey Sessler as a suspect. We're also told that they believe all 4 of those people, mother, father, brother, and Trey, lived here in this home together. Live in Waller, Jeremy Desel, KHOU 11 News.